This is Iflowboy, and today is another broadcast on Gran Turismo Sport via PlayStation Network. Thanks very much for joining me, and thanks for watching if you're not joining me now, but you watch this video on YouTube later. Again, remember to search Iflowboy, Iflowboy on YouTube, and you should find all of my broadcasts. Okay, well, today is a special day. It's a Sunday morning, and I have literally just finished doing this vehicle. And the reason that I say it's a special day is because it's a tribute vehicle to a good friend of mine that we lost earlier this year, sadly, way too young, but Pekarek. He unfortunately had cancer and passed away after a strong and long fight against the illness, and obviously he leaves behind Betty, his beautiful wife, Chris, his son, their son, and then a couple of other children as well, and some grandkids whose unfortunately names I don't know. So I've been thinking about how I do dedicate something to Bert, because he was a massive fan of car racing and motorsport in general, and he was a massive fan and participant on Gran Turismo. I don't know exactly how many Gran Turismos he raced on, but I know at least it was GT5, GT6, and of course GT Sport. And I have to say, without him on board to race with and to talk with and to have fun with, I definitely feel like there's something missing for me when I'm playing on GT Sports. So I'd been thinking about what I could do to pay tribute to him. What I had done is I had put old school on a lot of my liveries. I haven't put them on all of them yet, because as you may know, I've got 178 now, and so it takes a bit of time, but certainly the most recent 20 to 25 of them have had old school put on them as a decal somewhere. And the reason for that is that Bert's racing ID on Gran Turismo was old school _ 327. I'm pretty sure Betty's going to correct me on that. And Betty's not her real name, it's the name that we use when we're playing with her. I won't reveal her first name, that's up to her to do that if she ever wants to. But I'm pretty sure it was old school _ 327, and the 327 was symbolic of his Holden, a vehicle that he owned, which had a 327 engine in it. And so in turn I have tried to make reference to that in this livery. Now, this livery has taken me a long time to do, and I am, I guess, a little bit disappointed that I couldn't reflect the exact colour of Bert's car. And it is a beautiful, I guess I'll call it a sky blue chrome in colour, and again, Betty may correct me on that, but certainly the photo that I have that I've worked off to put this car together, I tried and tried for about 2.5 hours trying to get the colour palette to match it. There was a blue chrome in the special colours which came very close. Problem is, with the chrome colours, as those of you who know this game know, you cannot access those chrome colours outside of the original paint all, if I can use that term, of the vehicle in the livery editor. Once you leave that part of the editor, you cannot go back in there and grab that colour to use as a decal. So because Bert's car has quite a bit of little fiddly chrome bits, what I ended up doing is using silver chrome as the base colour and then building the rest of the paint around that. So it's taken me a fair amount of time. I think I have clocked up about 11 hours in putting this car together. And again, like I said, it's not perfect because, one, it's a different car, but I think it's a car that Bert would give the approval of, because it's the Camaro ZL1 1LE package, which boasts a fair bigger engine than the 327 Bert has in his car, and also boasts significantly more horsepower, to shade over 1,000. But like I said, it's a hot rod, and it's a muscle car, and it certainly fits right in with Bert's views about motor vehicles. So from that perspective, I think I'm on the money. But like I said, I want to do some scapes photos, and I'll do that during this broadcast because I'm really interested to see how the colour does come up in normal light. In the delivery editor, as I've said before, you never see the accurate colour as it comes out when it's in a game, in a room or a lobby, or when you take escapes photos. So what I'm really hoping is, as well as I did try to match the colour, and the way I did that was that there is a section on the bonnet of this car, which is actually not the bonnet, it's an engine cover, but it's directly exposed, and so from a livery editor perspective it's referred to as the part of the bonnet. You actually have to go into other and then select roof to actually put any decals on it. That's a bit of a side story. What I did was I kept that bonnet the same colour initially, built the palette colour as close as I could to it. Then once I had that colour palette saved, I went back in to the editor and converted the car to chrome, and that was how I got the colour match. But as you look at the car in preview mode, which we're about to go into initially, Betty will see straight away that what it doesn't seem to have is it doesn't seem to have the same metallic luster in the preview section. But I'm confident that when we go out into scapes photos and take some photos in some positions in real world pictures, the natural light will actually bring it closer to the true colour. And I hope that Betty can see from the highlights and the use of chrome and some other little decals that I've done, that it definitely does pay homage to Bert's car. Okay, so having said all that, let's go and have a look at it. Funnily enough, what I haven't put on it yet is the old school decal, and that's because I'm umming and ahhing. I might wait for Betty to have a look at it because I wanted to make it more prominent than what I usually do. So I'm going to jump straight into preview mode and then talk a bit about this vehicle. Okay, so obviously for those of you watching this vehicle who are not from Australia, you won't know what a Holden Kingswood is, you won't know what a Holden Monaro is, and you won't know what a Holden GTS is. But basically they are three versions of Holden car, and Holden, for those of you who don't know, is an Australian brand which is owned by General Motors, which of course obviously is Chevrolet as well. So hence the use of the Chevrolet Camaro in this case. Now as I said, it's a different car, and it's from a different era obviously. Bert's Holden is, I think, late 70s, early 80s. Betty will confirm that for me, but I'm pretty sure that's the vintage of it. And I'm obviously looking at a 2018 motor vehicle here, so obviously some differences from vehicles of the time. Back in the day, those types of vehicles had solid external attached bumpers, and they tended to be in a chrome. Now again, from the light you're not getting that chrome look from this angle, but that is a chrome in the middle there, and the black rubber strip is just trying to, I guess, emulate the front bumper. And obviously it also had a chrome grille. I can't in this car colour that grille. I wish I could, because I could make the more prominent rectangular shape of the grille of the car that I was trying to replicate. But I've done my best. Likewise, it had a chrome strip with a rubber vinyl inset, so I've tried to emulate that down the side of the car. It actually has chrome mirrors. Now of course the style and design of the mirrors are different and I can't amend that, but at least I have been able to keep the chrome mirrors. Chrome sills, again, that's a separate piece of the car and I can't emulate that, so I've gotten it as close as I can with the silver. Same with the wheel arches, there's some chrome strips around the wheel arches of Bert's car. I haven't been able to emulate that, I've only been able to do a silver, and that's just purely a limitation on the game. Unfortunately, if I could have done it in chrome I would have. I couldn't quite make out the side monikers that are here, so I went for something that I thought was what it was based on my knowledge of GTS and Monaros and what they usually have on them. So the double flags and then that GTS badge, which I've tried to do in a 3D. You probably can't see it there, but it's 3 layered to try and make it look a bit 3D, but I don't know how successful that was. Otherwise, I've left the bulk of the car clean. Obviously, I've put some a Holden badge at the front there with the Chevys. I cannot overwrite it. I wish I could, otherwise it would just be there as the Holden badge. Obviously, a reference there to Bert, Pekarac Power, and the 327, obviously. But other than that, I've left the side. But like I said, with Betty's permission, I will put a big old school moniker on the side. I haven't done it yet because Bert's car is a road car and it's clean. So rear spoiler, again reference to Holden, which was obviously Bert's preferred brand of Australian cars. And then at the back, to be true to Bert, I've put his number plate on there, complete with New South Wales. So that's the number plate off Bert's car. It's New South Wales, which is a state of New South Wales. So I've done that. Obviously my moniker that's on there. Regarding looking at my channel, now I know my channel, just for those of you who are wondering, my channel is not called Iflowboy. My channel is actually in my name. I may change that to Iflowboy, but for now I've left it in my name. But Iflowboy is a terminology that I've had for a long time, going back to 1997 to be exact, so 22 years ago. It was about a project that I was involved in for a company I was working. I went and registered the number plates iFlow as part of that project. In fact, I may have those plates somewhere in a cupboard. I don't know for sure. I know I had them for a period. I think I can't remember if I returned them or not. But obviously they can't be used anymore. So yeah, so then there's that, and then obviously, of course, in memory of Bert, because he loved GT Sport and he loved motorsport in general, I've got the Racing Forever Bert Pekarac. So that's the vehicle. Of course, it has road wheels on it. Those wheels there, they're as close as I can get to Bert's mags that are on his wheels on his car. Similar, very similar shape. These might have one extra spoke. I think Bert's wheels are a 5-spoke, these are a 6, but in terms of replicating the look, and I was going off a photo just to give everyone a bit of a reference point. I was going off a photo that was about that angle. So yeah, that's what I was working off. Okay, so as I said, this colour doesn't look a lot like Bert's actual colour. Like I said, his colour of his vehicle is very much a sky blue chrome, if I can call it that, to look at. It's a very beautiful colour actually. But what we'll do now is we will leave the preview page and we will go to Scapes Photos, and I'm going to pick some outside locations. And what I'm hoping is that the paint will reflect more accurately out in the sun, and so that will hopefully give Betty and Chris in particular a better perspective of the car. Let's go to Cuba first. Again, the sun I think is behind the car, so I'm not quite sure what we're going to get here, but let's see. Okay. It's still not reflecting like I hoped it would, and it certainly looks different there to what it was looking in comparison to the blue chrome that was matching Bert's car. So Interestingly, the chrome wheels aren't looking very chromey either in that light. Anyway, they're definitely chrome. I'm just going to see if... Yeah, it's still not really bringing out the steel. It's a metallic paint, an aluminium metallic paint, so I'm curious as to why it's not reflecting the... Anyway, let's take a photo. And then we'll flip it, spin it around I should say, 180 degrees. So we get the back of it, and then we'll go to a different location. We'll just try some locations and capture the light. Yeah, see, it's a bit more, that's showing out a bit more bubblegum blue, quite a lot more bubblegum blue than what the colour shows in the photo that I use. So I'm a little bit disappointed with that. And I'm not quite sure whether I can in my library play with it, but we'll see later if we can. Alright, so save that photo, go back to car, flip it around, and just zoom it out a bit, it just seems to be a bit closer there. Effects, nostalgia, so that can stay the same. Of course, a lot of people, if I post this onto the Scapes photos, a lot of people in Australia will be looking at it, seeing the Holden logos, and probably trying to make a connection between it and a race car, you know, like a V8 supercar. For any of those people out there, I'm sorry, it's not meant to be a V8 supercar livery knockoff. It's just for Bert and Betty and Chris. Okay, so I'm going to go to a different location now. So I don't know whether I'm going to get better light. I think that's going to be the same. No, I don't think night light is going to be the best way to do it. Ooh. Try that one. Just curious, I probably won't take a photo unless it looks representative of the colour. It's still not showing that metal fleck at all, is it? It's quite a almost like a matte looking finish here. I'm really surprised. The sad thing is that sun is... Alright, just back it up. Go back to one of those shady ones, because there was a bit of shade, or the way that the sun was hitting Bert's car was such that it wasn't... I don't think it was pure... No, it was pure sunlight, really. Of course it won't go out in the shade. Trying to work out one where I can get the sun kind of hitting the car on the same angle. That might sound crazy, but it's showing the blue as a bubblegum blue and the silver as a white. That's really weird. I'm just going to take that photo just because I just want to be able to reference it more than anything. Quite amazing how the wheels, you see there, they're looking silver, as they should. But the rest of the car, it's I'm not saying much because I guess I'm a little bit disappointed. I really expected that out in the light the paint would reflect more accurately. As I said, what I did is I'll just explain it a bit better using this tool if I can. So I'm just going to zoom in to the bonnet, hopefully. So you can see the bonnet where the Pecorec power riding is 327. You can see that's a different section, but the bonnet itself, I left it as the blue steel chrome, which is actually a very similar colour to Bert's car. And what I did was I had an overview shot, which I could have shown you in preview, and then what I did is I matched the colour of the front panel, so the wheel arch panel on the left there that you can see. I played around with the colour palette until I got it almost identical to the steel blue chrome colour of the bonnet, and then I saved that colour, and then that's the colour that I used to fill the rest of the car out after I'd taken the car back into the main paint menu and painted it all chrome. So I'm really at a loss as to why this has done what it's done. I'm going to go out of here and go to a totally different location and a different light, I guess. To just see what we get. Look, I guess ultimately Betty and Chris will be able to tell me whether we're anywhere near it. I personally, looking at this, I don't think I am. So that means I'm going to have to probably rework it. And that's a shame because I wanted this to be perfect for them. Yeah. Okay. It's a nice photo. Just wish it was more like the colour of Bert's car. I'll do one more photo, I think. Maybe what I might do is I might do a combined photo here. Bear with me while I track the offenders down, as they say. I've got 5 Camaros now by the look of it. There is a part in the game, and I can't remember where it is, but I'll go and do a bit of fishing in a minute. I won't do it while I'm broadcasting. I did that. See, even that dark blue chrome paint on that car looks... I'm trying to work out why it won't go over here. Okay. Just bear with me while I get these in some sort of order. Closer together, I probably can. Actually, move that one back that way first. Move him back that way. I won't come any further forward, okay. Trying to work it so that I can zoom in a bit more, but it's not really working. I might do. No, I can't come any further forward. I don't know if you can see, I'll zoom in on the camera. This is more for Betty and Chris. So they can see the blue of that car, but it was a shade lighter than that. That's a bit dark, but it was lighter than that. But you can see straight away the chromey or reflection in the paint, and that's what it was looking like. So I'm really confused, but anyway. Okay. That'll do. I'll post them a bit later today, but I might try and go back in and play around with this. So I might end this broadcast now, which is probably an apt thing to do since we've just ticked over 30 minutes, and I might do another shorter broadcast in the near future. Alrighty, thanks very much for tuning in to Betty and Chris. Stay tuned. I may be able to, I won't call it rescue, but I may be able to write the colour variants. Yeah, thank you very much for watching, everyone, and check out more at Iflowboy, Iflowboy, in the search field on YouTube. Cheers now.